What's up everyone? Welcome to Football Dose. Premier League is going to be back and all football around the world will be back on track and on a normal routine. Liverpool are going to be the champions of the English top flight after struggling for so many years. Manchester United, on the other hand, can only hope for a top 4. Ole has clearly had an effect on Manchester United and there is a sense of optimism around Old Trafford again, and United fans will have something positive to cheer on for next season. But for the same feeling to continue next season, there needs to be a squad overhaul again at Old Trafford. And today we're going to look at the current Manchester United squad and put them on a tier list which has 6 categories which are pretty self-explaining, and see what players need to go on loan, which players need to leave the club, and which players are essential for the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer equation at Manchester United. So without further ado, let's hop right into it. First up, we have Marcos Rojo. Marcos Rojo has been on loan in Argentina. Clearly, ever since signing him in 2014, Rojo hasn't performed. He has looked good in glimpses, but in the larger picture, he hasn't really impressed a lot of Manchester United fans. His injury problems are second to none. I think it's for the better that he should leave Manchester United, and I'm going to put him into please leave category, no questions asked. Next up we have Sergio Romero. In my opinion, and in probably a lot of other people's opinion, Sergio Romero is the best backup goalkeeper in the world or in the Premier League. Manchester United have hit a jackpot with Romero. Never complains, professional attitude, never demands huge wages, always performs to his fullest. I think he's a very good goalkeeper, and at times Mourinho used him as a first choice goalkeeper for United, and that wasn't a bad start for him either. So he kept 3 clean sheets in the starting 3 matches under the Jose Mourinho era. I think he is very essential to the United squad, and I think he should stay definitely. Next up we have Anthony Martial. Anthony Martial is a weird case. At times he looks absolutely clueless on the pitch, and at times his connection with Pogba, Rashford and Bruno Fernandes looks surreal. I think he is improving finally, but United fans thought, maybe everybody in the Premier League thought, that he is going to be a future Ballon d'Or winner. That is clearly not the case. He is a very good player, not world class by any stretch of the imagination, but he can do a job. Martial can score goals. He has some assists to his name as well. So I'm going to put him in the essential category as well. Next up we have Eric Bailly. Listen, when Manchester United bought him from Villarreal, it looked like a proper Jose Mourinho signing. United fans thought that we have found a new Vidic or Ferdinand. He looked rock solid in Europa League. His starts in the Premier League were a delight to watch. But ever since then, he has some severe injury problems and severe form problems. Maybe it's because there is no centre-back pairing which he formed during his time at United. I think he's a good defender, but maybe United should loan him. But I would give him one more chance, just for the sake that he's extremely young and looks very professional when he plays. So I'm going to put him in a squad player category. Next up, Paul Pogba. I don't care that Pogba has won the World Cup. His hiding behind the agent and things like dyeing your hair blue before the Manchester derby. I know he won the derby for us, but Manchester United fans are not getting what they expect from Pogba. It just looks like Pogba doesn't want to be at Old Trafford, even though he was a product of United Academy. Juventus are interested in him, but after the COVID-19 situation, there is a lot of financial makeover around the world. There will be a lot of financial makeover around the world, and clubs will be hesitant to buy big money players. And Pogba's wage demands and his agent Mino Raiola are on some other kind of stuff. So but I want him to leave. Pogba, if you don't want to play for a club like Manchester United, you should just leave. And it's okay. No grudges against Pogba, but he should not go on the pitch and behave like he's uninterested to play. That is just not professional in my opinion. So I'm going to put him in please leave category. Next up, Victor Nelson Lindelof, a proper Jose Mourinho signing. It took some time for him to settle at Manchester United, but finally things are starting to look up, and the Iceman is super cool and collected in goal, and always looks a part of the play, has a very good ball playing ability, and looks very calm. His aerial ability is questionable, but if he keeps working harder, I think he can be a very good centre back for years to come. Very young, 24 years of age. So I think they should absolutely keep him. He is an essential player in my opinion. Next up, Alexis Sanchez. There are reports coming that Sanchez is coming back to Manchester United. I don't know what kind of people run our club, but Sanchez should not be given one more penny at Old Trafford. He should absolutely leave. He should go to Chile or Brazil or some club where he can find wages, or maybe he should go to MLS or China and make some bank. But in the Premier League, he's clearly past his prime. No need to give him more game time. You've seen it, 30 odd games and 2 goals, just terrible. I don't know what happened to him, but not good enough. He should absolutely leave. Nemanja Matic. People, especially Manchester United fans, have mocked Nemanja Matic. He looked slow, he looked fragile, he looked physically lethargic on the pitch. But in the past few games before the quarantine, he was absolutely charming, treat to watch, excellent interceptions, great defensive work, hardcore, proper defensive midfield tackling. I think we should keep him. Give him. I think he has a couple more years in him for the top flight, and he can be a good fit from the bench or in a Europa League match. Let's see. So I'm going to put him in squad player category. Next up, Fred. I mean, what a turnaround by Fred. He finally looks like that he's a Brazilian midfielder. Excellent tackling, brilliant ball retention, sets the tempo of the game at times. His through balls to Martial and his connection with Bruno Fernandes has been a treat to watch, and I'm really happy for Fred. There was a reason that Pep Guardiola wanted him, and he is showing now that what kind of a player he is, and I seriously hope that his form continues for us. I'm going to put him in essential category. Next up we have Diego Dalot. Mourinho signed him for 20 million from Porto. A good player. Played in that 6-1 win against Tranmere Rovers. I think he scored a goal as well. He looks pretty decent, but his defensive side is pretty questionable. Not as solid as Aaron Wan-Bissaka, but his crossing, on the other hand, is probably in top 5 in the Manchester United squad. Give him more game time. Can't send him on loan because we have no backups for right back position right now, and he can be a good backup. Maybe play him in Europa League matches or League Cup matches. In the years to come, he can develop. Any player can develop, and he's pretty young, so high hopes for him. But for now, I'm going to put him in squad player category. Lee Grant. I know you are supposed to buy third choice goalkeepers who are old and have no clubs and are not first team players anymore, but Lee Grant is just a weird signing to me. Never played for the club. He's not a good goalkeeper, honestly. He was horrible at Stoke. I don't know, if he leaves, I don't think there is a lot of people who will miss him at Old Trafford. Bruno Fernandes. He has the potential to become world class, and this is an observation based on the first few games he has played for the Red Devils. Very good player and consistent with his performances. Great shot in him. long range passer. Manchester United have missed a long range passer apart from Rooney and Pogba. I don't think there's a lot of players at United who can find a long ball like Rooney or Pogba can. So Bruno Fernandes is a good change, and I think he has the potential to be world class, and he's absolutely essential for Ole's rebuild at Old Trafford. Next up we have Aaron Wan-Bissaka. For people who are mocking Manchester United for overpaying for Maguire and Wan-Bissaka should eat their words. Look at the statistics. United have massively improved because of these two players. It was a painful experience for Manchester United fans to watch Smalling and Jones defend for 90 minutes for 5 straight years, and Maguire is just a beam of fresh light. And I just think that Wan-Bissaka has the potential, once again, like Bruno, to be world class. I'm going to put him in essential. And it's such a good thing to see that Ole's signings are spot on so far. I would give him 4 out of 4. The way he has found the right players and spent money on the right kind of, products. Next up we have Harry Maguire. I would agree on one thing though. Harry Maguire is not an 80 million pound player by any stretch of the imagination. That's not a question. He's slightly overpaid for him, but considering the bigger picture, he's very young. He's an England international, and his ability to defend speaks for itself. Very good player. Can improve a lot on his aerial ability, but a very good leader, professional, with a proper work ethic that is missing from Manchester United's defense since Vidic and Ferdinand left. I'm going to put him in essential category as well. Daniel James, one of the fastest players in the Premier League statistically. One thing I don't like about Daniel James is because, and this is not coming from a place of hate, it is just, I think it is the transition from Championship to the Premier League that has caused this problem, and it is his decision making. At times he looks like Walcott. Excellent dribbler, excellent runner, but not a very good decision maker when it comes to the final product. Can score goals. We saw in the start he scored brilliant goals for Wales and United as well. His assists and his performances in the long run for Manchester United can be a difference making thing, and his performances in the big game are just incredible. I'm going to put him in squad player for now. Ighalo. I know he is a very lovable character. Ighalo loves Manchester United. In his interviews he said that he always dreamed to play for such a big club. But let's be honest, even in the Fergie era, Ighalo wouldn't be a third choice. And even now, things shouldn't change. He's a very likable person, but I don't think Manchester United should spend money on him or have him permanently at the club. I'm going to put him in bang average category. He's an average player. Juan Mata. When we signed him, I was very happy. Proper attacking midfielder, scored some excellent goals under David Moyes. Probably the best signing in David Moyes' era. Great free kick taker, and one of those characters that are a must-have at the club. A proper leader as well. Can be a good ambassador for the club as well. I think he's a good player. Still can perform occasionally on Europa League or in League Cup matches, and can have an odd run in a Premier League game as well. I think United should keep him, but he's a squad player at best. Next up we have Luke Shaw. When Manchester United signed Luke Shaw, everybody thought in the league that they have signed the best young left back in the world. Clearly hasn't been the case. I mean, his injury problems are a valid excuse, but still not as good as Patrice Evra or Irvin. Those are the guys that formed the defense of Manchester United, and Luke Shaw just doesn't cut it for me. I think he should leave. Yeah. A lot of clubs would be interested for signing him. He can go to a number of different teams across Europe, can go to the MLS. I don't think he has enough left in his tank to turn things around and become an extremely better player. Players go past him easily. Defensive position is questionable. Crossing very poor. I think we can do better. There is Grimaldo, Chilwell or Gaia from Valencia, who can be a very good option for Manchester United this summer. Even Alex Telles from Porto can be a deadly left back for Manchester United. I think there are a lot of players better in the Premier League alone than Luke Shaw. I'm going to put him in bang average. Axel Tuanzebe. He was excellent at Aston Villa. Whenever I've seen him play, he looks like a good defender. Like, he can be a Joe Gomez from Manchester United. We should definitely give him some chances. I think Manchester United have some great players in their academy, and Axel Tuanzebe is an excellent defender. Very calm and collected on the ball. Can form a good partnership in the coming years. Right now he's not a squad player, a first team player, a starter. But in the coming couple of seasons, I can see him making appearances in the longer run. So definitely keep him. But so far he is a squad player. Jesse Lingard, J Lings, my man. Very good character. Lingard, very happy kid who plays for his childhood club. I would like to thank him for all the FA Cup goals and his brilliant solo runs in Europa League and FA Cup. But it's time to depart from Manchester United. I think he's a bang average midfielder. His form is absolutely horrible. I don't think Manchester United should keep him. Let him go. Maybe go to China to make a few bucks. I really don't think a team in the Premier League will offer him wages upwards of £100,000. Thank you, Lingard. You're a great character, but not a Manchester United player. Should not get a start. If United want to proceed and become as good as Liverpool or City, he should just leave. Andreas Pereira. When he was at Valencia, I used to watch a few games where he looked absolutely part of the team, and his passes were crisp, accurate, and his work rate was phenomenal. Maybe it is the change of leagues, because Premier League has a much higher intensity than the Spanish league, La Liga. He looks awful, let's be honest. Loses the ball frequently, absolutely clueless in the final third. He's a good free kick taker. He has set up some great layup shots for Martial. But again, not a first team quality player for Manchester United. Can go to a club like Fulham or Middlesbrough in the Championship and can revive his career. But at Manchester United, I don't think he has space left or time left. So I think I'm going to put him on please leave category as well. Next up, Marcus Rashford. From scoring that stunning free kick against Chelsea in the Cup to scoring almost 20 goals in the Premier League this season, some part of me is really sad for Rashford, because I really believe that this was his 30 goal season. And this was a season that he would come out to the world and proclaim that he's a very good player. He's absolutely essential. He can be world class for United, no questions asked. I'm going to put him in essential. And I think United need one more striker, because Rashford, if he gets injured, then there's nobody. I'm going to put him in essential category. He can be world class. There's a lot of time left for Rashford. Scott McTominay. He's a proper Sir Alex Ferguson type of player. Brilliant work rate. Always does his job. Pays attention to what the team needs. Pays attention to the manager, to the coaching staff, and always looks to improve himself and always looks to get the ball back, which is the kind of midfielder every club should have. Chelsea have Kante, City have Fernandinho, Arsenal have Pereira, and Manchester United finally have Scott McTominay. And this guy is absolutely amazing. His goal against Arsenal, his brilliant, I think it was almost a halfway line goal against Man City to win the derby. McTominay is a brilliant player. A lot of people who are not Manchester United fans are a fan of McTominay as well. Proper lad, proper brilliant player, proper team, a person who puts the team before himself. United should absolutely keep him. Next up, Timothy Fosu-Mensah. He got a few games against Louis van Gaal. Looked pretty good, looked pretty decent. Good crosser of the ball. Defensive side is pretty weak. If his loan spell at Fulham was an audition for Manchester United, I think he failed miserably. I'm not going to trust him with the right back spot. I think Diego Dalot can be a good squad player for that particular position. I think Manchester United should loan him one more time before selling him and moving on. Next up, Angel Gomez. Considering his physicality, most people argue that he is not a Premier League player because physically he looks very weak. But we have the likes of James Maddison, who are very weak as well. We have Jack Grealish, who looks very skinny and fragile but is a brilliant performer. Contract talks are going on, and if United can give game time to the likes of Andres Pereira and Jesse Lingard, Angel Gomez deserves a chance as well. I don't know why Ole is not giving him a chance in the first team. Can be a very good player in the near future, and I do think that Manchester United should not lose him. And he hasn't played enough for United, but there is a good player in him. I do believe it, and he shouldn't leave the club just yet. Very good player. Reports from PSG, Atletico Madrid, and a lot of other European clubs who want to sign him on loan. But I do think that he can get some minutes under Ole if Ole is willing and Pereira and Lingard leave. So I'm going to put him in squad player category as well. Mason Greenwood, the recreation of Robin van Persie. What a left foot this guy has. Always scores goals, long range, short range, dribbles with both, on both sides, is not afraid to take chances, is not afraid to take defenders head on. What a brilliant youngster, probably the best youngster in the Premier League bar Phil Foden, and can be a very deadly striker for United in the coming years. Imagine him and Rashford in the coming years as the two main men at United. What a sight to behold. And I think he's absolutely essential for the coming couple of years under Ole. I'm going to put him in essential category because considering his age, his goal return is phenomenal. I think he's scored 8 or 9 goals this season, which is just impressive. Next up, Tahith Chong. One man I'm not a fan of is Tahith Chong. I've seen enough. Not United quality. A player like Ryan Babel or Ravel Morrison, in my opinion, I don't think he is that talented enough. Even his games in the under 19 level are kind of questionable. He can run with the ball, sure, but his physicality, his decision making and his shooting, very poor. And I think United should loan him. He's bang average so far. Can improve, very young. Should send him on loan in a Premier League club like Sheffield or some other team in the Championship. James Garner, another brilliant player in the Manchester United Youth Academy, is James Garner. I think he has played a couple of times under Ole and I was impressed. His positioning was very good. Always willing to get the ball from the teammates and willing to run with the ball as well. Can be a very good player. So far not bad. And I think United doesn't have enough room for him to start games in any competition. But if they loan him out to a team like Sheffield or a club in the Championship, maybe he can restart his career and become a really good player and fulfill his potential and return hopefully to Manchester United and fulfill his dreams for playing for the Red Devils. I do believe he's a good player. I'm going to put him in the loan category. Next up, Brendan Williams. It's a shame to say this, but Luke Shaw is not better than Brendan Williams. Brendan Williams, absolutely electric pace, ball retention superb, positioning excellent. Had 1 or 2 bad games as well. There's no surprise in that. He's a very young player, but what a brilliant youth academy product he is. And if United sign a new left back, he will share games with him, because he is a very willing and eager player at United and always looks to start games and make an impact. And that is exactly the kind of players we are missing from the United system right now. So Brendan Williams goes into my essential category as well. Next up, De Gea. I know there are critiques of De Gea, and he has made some absolutely horrible errors in this season. Ever since the 2018 World Cup, he hasn't looked the same. But considering that De Gea gave us his prime years as a goalkeeper, when he could have left for a number of bigger clubs, I think you should respect him a little more. And still, he is world class. He's probably the only world class player at Manchester United bar Pogba. And if I was Ole, I would absolutely keep De Gea. I know Dean Henderson is making a big name for himself and a big impression at Sheffield, but come on, De Gea is world class. Dean is not at De Gea's level at the moment, so De Gea shouldn't leave. He is world class. Next up, Phil Jones. There was a time I seriously thought that Jones will be an excellent performer for United. How wrong was I? His final season with Sir Alex Ferguson, when United won the league, he looked pretty sharp. His game against Chelsea was flawless. His performances in the big matches were pretty incredible. But over the years, he has become a meme. And I think it's time to part ways for Phil Jones. Thank you for your services, I guess. But I don't see a Premier League club going for Phil Jones. Maybe Newcastle can buy him with a takeover and make him a third choice centre back. But at United, I don't think he has enough fuel or fire left in him to represent the Red Devils. He should leave. So that is the tier list for Manchester United squad for the next season. I know a lot of changes are needed to be made by Ole, and I do believe that we are finally heading in a good direction. There will be times when United will need major modifications in the future, but right now there is just a feeling in the air that United are kind of coming back. Not completely back, but they are coming back. And I'm going to put my money on Ole, because any manager in the world needs time. And Ole loves the club, we all know that. There are a lot of options for United to go if Ole doesn't work out. Pochettino and a lot of other managers as well. But every manager needs time, and I do think that United fans should stick with Ole, because he won everything with United. And if a new manager comes, he will start to do things according to his manner, and that will take some extra time. And right now United need to get back as quickly as possible, and like Roy Keane says, we should trust. Anyways, that's my tier list. If you did enjoy the video, make sure you give us thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. If you missed out anybody and there is a person you don't agree with, or a selection on the list that you don't agree with, let us know in the comments down below. And as always, we'll talk to you in a while.